Shalom. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh, Shamba, Hawashai, Shamba, Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles.
The people were
and
coming
the
out.
Desmond Stone, and salutations to all the sincere king. And this is your brother Abawan, back again with another video through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Shamba, Hawashai, Shamba, Kwadash. All praises and glory to, especially in the times that we're in. And yeah, I just wanted to go into this right here. Okay, so this is the inspiration for this video, and I'm probably going to title this video right. We are all forgers of lies and physicians of no value, or at the very least another edition of the forgers of lies and physicians of no value, or either that or doctrines of the devil, which is media propaganda, which is exactly what this video right here that I'm responding to is going into, right? So this is a video from the YouTube channel GDF. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, but yeah, this is a video from the video from the YouTube channel GDF, and the title of the video is "The Movie Based on Lies." Okay, and it's of course going into the movie American Sniper, and basically he went through the movie. And personally, I haven't watched the movie yet, right? Because I'm not really that interested in all these wartime stories, mainly because of the reason which this channel mentions here, that majority of the movie is just deceptions and lies, right? The modus operandi and the normal um, mode of communication for Esau Edom, because how do you know that Esau is lying? His lips are moving. That's really where actually the original person that term was for. Okay, so basically, what you had in this movie was a lot of, wartime propaganda and lies depicting, as normally is the case with a lot of media, and that's the main reason why I'm doing this video, right? Because it's not an isolated incident. It's not just this one movie where okay, Esau is lying about and portraying American soldiers as the good guys, right? As the heroes for democracy. That once they come in, once they land, right? They're out here taking out dangerous terrorists, right? They're out here, saving the local people that are in whatever lands that they invade, okay? Because that's basically what it is. And all you soldiers in Babylon, all you are is just um all you are just the organized terrorist arm of Edomite supremacy. You aren't soldiers, you're not military men, right? You are just terrorists. That's all the US Army is, that's all the US military is, the terror arm of Edomite supremacy, right? So I'm not going to play any part of this video because it's basically a long-winded video. I think it's like what, how many minutes is this video? Real quick, 35 minutes video, right? So he put out a lot of great points, but it was mainly responding to, right, all the lies and the deceptions that were in the movie. And it's not just this movie, like I said. Majority of your media properties that are going into the US military are also, okay, what's what I'm looking for, um yeah, are also, filled with deception in order to make the army, like I said, and the military and Esau Edom look good. And that's really what all your media really is. It's Edomite propaganda. It's Edomite propaganda, okay, and it's being made in order to push a certain narrative or to push a certain message that favors whatever agenda that the elites of Esau Edom wants to push on the earth, okay? And that's why it's called media. So let's go into the etymology, right? Because here at the Great Millstone we deal with words, so we understand the words that are being used on a daily basis in this kingdom. So let's I forgot where that is. Oh yeah, here it is, etym online. So we understand the meaning of the words that are being used on a daily basis in this kingdom, not just the meaning, but the origins of those words as well, because that's basically what etymology is, to find the truth in words. Okay, and the best way to know the truth in a word, to understand the word, is to go back to its origins, how and what it was first used for. So this is the etymology of the word media. Okay, so let's go to that. Media: newspapers, radios, TV, etc. Perhaps abstracted from mass media, a technical term in advertising, plural of medium, as intermediate agency, a sense attested in English from the 1600s. So let's go down a little bit more. So I see that here it is. This is what I was looking for. Medium. Okay, so the word media goes back to the word medium, and what a medium is a middle ground, quality, or degree, that which holds a middle place or position, right? And the reason why you see the media is a middle ground or a middle position is basically an in between, right, between your elite overlords of America, Babylon the Great, which are your international banking families, and you, the masses. Now remember that the word masses, right, if you go into the etymology, means dead. So basically, you see something similar to what happened in the movie They Live, where the bulk of the people that are on the earth are basically zombies. Okay, because if you go into media, because hey man, look, I mean, I'm into media a lot, right? I don't really watch movies or anime or play video games all that much anymore, but I always keep in touch with what's going on in them, right? In case you find something edifying to do a video on. So I'm always keeping in touch with what's going on in the mass media and the mainstream media and so on and so forth, right? The same way other brothers are. And if you go into the psychology, right, especially of the average consumer of media here in America, Babylon the Great, basically it is considered an escape for them, right? So they continue in this wicked world where, right, Esau Edom is in rulership, so the people are in mourning, and then when they get back to their homes or wherever, little shack or shut or anything they stay, right, they activate their media and basically use it as an escape, right? That is why we consider these people dead from the neck up, right? Because their brains are empty, man. That's why you see that all these statistics are trending towards, people getting dumber and dumber, shorter attention spans, less, anti-intellectualism, which I wanted to do a video on that, but I'm not, the spirit hasn't really hit me with the proper words to use in that video. So yeah, you're basically seeing the people get dumber and dumber, and that's because they are consuming more and more of this media that is basically just propaganda, right? Just witchcraft from Esau Edom. Because let's not forget that even that the main blessing for Esau is the sword, right? But the other blessing as well that the Most High Yahweh Shami Shai imparted unto Esau is the power to deceive. Okay, so let's go to the book of Revelation 21. It's like Revelation 20, and I'll start from verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that he must be loosed a little season, right? So the devil that has been referred to here is of course Esau Edom, and for that 1,000 year period, which is of course the dark ages up until the Renaissance, Esau Edom was bound, and while he was bound, not only could he not make war anymore on the earth or take peace from the earth, but he also could not deceive. Okay, he could not practice his deception on the earth as well. So let's also get this as well. Okay, that should be Isaiah, but I'm forgetting the exact precept it is in Isaiah. I think it's Isaiah 51 or 52. I can't really remember. So let me just type it in the blue letter. Isaiah 58. Okay, so like a Psalms 58. Psalms 58 verse 3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born. speaking lies. Can That's exactly what Esau Edom does. That's why I said deception, and that's basically what his media is now. To go back into the topic of this media right here that he created of this American Sniper, if
People
you
were coming
actually
out
watch,
to, show.
so okay, you actually watch the video, right? And of course, it's based off the individual named Chris Carr. And the reason why I don't want to play too much of the video or go too deep into it is because you know how Esau gets when it comes to the veterans and so on and so forth, especially when you are bringing out the truth of Esau's wickedness. Let's just keep it minimal. Okay, so yeah, when he goes into the video, he begins to expose, right, the lies that were um basically the lies that were what's what I'm looking for, the lies that were placed in the movie to try to portray this individual as some kind of patriot that was trying to fight for the people that were in, I believe it's either Iraq or Afghanistan. I can't remember the exact country where American Sniper took place, right? But this is just like that's just an example, a case study. If you go deeper into how Esau Edom uses propaganda and uses lies and deception to make the military or arm, right, his military, which is basically just a bunch of hired terrorists, okay, to make them look like the good guys. You go as far as you find out how many movies have been done on that, and even video games as well. Like for example, Call of Duty. You ever notice how in Call of Duty the good guys are always the British SAS and the U.S. Navy, Marines, like the U.S. Army, Marines, and all the special armed forces of the U.S. Right? And the villains are always either the Russians the or the Ishmael, right? The Middle Eastern, so it's like a West Asian Arabs, right? And even in there was a certain game, and let me see if I can go to that because I opened it up, I got it queued up on the chat, right? There was a certain Call of Duty game where they completely rewrote the history of what happened in one of the wars between America and Iraq. Because if you actually go into the lore, right, and unfortunately, I couldn't find the video where this was actually mentioned. That basically the CIA, yeah, them, the CIA closely monitor a lot of movies that are um, put out in order to make sure that the message that they want to get put out is sent out properly, right? I even was watching a recent video going into how a lot of your famous authors, even those guys like the 1984 guy Aldous Huxley, right? And and co. They were all connected with the CIA, and it's the same with a lot of these movie makers and directors, especially the early Hollywood movie makers, directors, and actors. They were all connected with the CIA, and basically the CIA controlled a lot of the scenes and the story of movies in order to once again push the wicked agenda of Esau Edom, especially when it came to the military. And a case in point is how often the Call of Duty dev team, right, Activision, collaborates with the CIA in order to create a Call of Duty game. And that's why a lot of soldiers, right, a lot of these US military training facilities use Call of Duty in order to simulate live military situations, right? So yeah, this is going into Call of Duty. So I asked the chat, which Call of Duty game had the bombing of that road in Iraq when people were fleeing? So, and the chat replies, the Call of Duty game I'm thinking about is the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, the reboot of the Modern Warfare series. In the game's campaign, there is a level or sequence called the Highway of Death, which is an actual thing that happened in 1991 in between the Kuwait/Iraqi war in 1991, right, when the US began its invasion of Iraq under the disguise of protecting Kuwait from the evil of Saddam Hussein and its WMDs, right? Remember all that, the various bombing and occupation campaigns that happened from the 90s all throughout to the late 2010s, I believe, right, when the US soldiers were still stationed all over Iraq because they were invading Iraq. Let's keep going into it. The scene references and is named after the real-world Highway of Death, a stretch of road between Kuwait and Iraq during the 1991 Gulf War. Coalition forces bombed retreating Iraqi troops and many civilians as they fled, leaving hundreds of destroyed vehicles and high casualties. So chat, is actually, I think this is actually from a link, right? So chat, right, is avoiding, putting the blame, rightfully so, on America Babylon the Great, because it was America Babylon the Great that bombed that highway, that bombed the Iraqi civilians, right, from fleeing from Kuwait during the bombing of the Highway of Death, under the disguise that, oh, they were trying to take out Iraqi soldiers, and the civilians were just simply, what's it, collateral damage, right? Collateral damage, which is basically the term that Esau uses whenever his warmongering evil ways basically kill off random civilians. And that shows you that this is the devil which the Bible speaks of, and this is the devil they are dealing with, because rather than take accountability, right, and actually be forthright with what he did, he would rather go and, use different terms, right, and create new terms, create new speech, not to avoid the accountability of his wicked actions. Let's keep going into it. However, the game fictionalizes it. In the campaign story, the bombing is attributed to Russian forces in the fictional country of Urzikstan, which sparks controversy because in reality, the historical event involved US-led forces, not Russians. Basically Babylon, the US was the one that bombed that highway and killed all those civilians. But in the game, right, in the Call of Duty game, they framed the Russians and made it look like the Russians were the one responsible for the bombing, which is basically how Esau Edom uses his media to rewrite history. And we can see that very clearly in how Esau Edom uses his media to whitewash, right, our people. So he whitewashes Elijah Hawashai, whitewashes King David, whitewashes Moses, right? So now you understand that all media is propaganda, and all media from Esau Edom is lies, all history from Esau Edom is lies, all science from Esau Edom is lies. So the only thing that these devils can actually produce is deception. And it's not just COD or that American Sniper movie, like I said. There are countless other movies, and in fact, countless other Call of Duty games as well, that have this deception in them. And this is exactly how Esau Edom operates. That's why the scriptures say. And let's get that precept. That should be the book of Habakkuk. So this is the book of Habakkuk 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Because Esau is not a righteous man, and as the scriptures say. So this is the book of Habakkuk. Okay, that's not the one I'm looking for. But yeah, Esau is not a righteous man, right? The soul of these devils, the soul of Esau Edom, it is not upright in him, and that's why he continues to do and push wickedness all over the earth, right? Using this his media, and of course not shine away from lying and deceiving the people. So that's why you don't see Jake. I don't really get myself involved too much in movies and series and games anymore, because it's all propaganda, man. It's all to push the narrative that Esau Edom, right? These devils which the Bible speaks of, basically. So let's get this precept. So this is the book of Job 9 verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not where and who is he. And this is basically what media is now, right? This is how Esau Edom is pushing his media. And this is what Esau Edom is doing with media in order to make himself out to be the true people of the Most High. And what he has done is that he has deceived the whole earth and made them to believe that these devils are the true people of the Most High, and are the true Israelites, right? That, oh, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Elijah, Hawashai, Moses, and so on and so forth are actually, or they look like Esau, when in all actuality they did not. Okay, but what they looked like was Israelites, because they are Israelites, right? So it's not just all about lying about the US's rule as an oppressor and as a terrorist organization, or it's like I should say the US military's rule as a terrorist organization all over the earth, oppressing the people all over the earth. Let's get that one as well, right? He heapeth, how does that piece go again? So let's go to that. That should be the book of, that should be once again the book of Habakkuk. So this, because this is all Esau does, right? So let's go to that. That should be the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. So this is the book of Habakkuk 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. Right? And that's exactly what Esau did during the war between Kuwait and Iran, because if you actually go into the history, you find out that Kuwait and Iran, which are two Middle Eastern nations, were actually in conflict with each other. I was talking about Iran, Iraq, and the reason why was that during Saddam Hussein's reign, Iraq invaded Kuwait, and the reason why Iraq invaded Kuwait was mainly because of the resources that Kuwait had, and also because of the fact that the US was already operating in Kuwait and trying to set up a military base in Kuwait, which I believe the US currently has already set up that military base in Kuwait. So let me just then confirm that, because ultimately, the US still invaded Kuwait, and the US still invaded Kuwait and also invaded Iraq and ended up killing Saddam Hussein and starting a needless war of bloodshed, right, under the disguise of the war on terror. But really what it was, just a war to secure the Middle East and secure oil, and also, right, all the other resources that exist in Iraq. So let's get this. Here are some of the major military bases in Kuwait, many of which are used by the US military and coalition forces for operations, logistics, and staging in the Middle East. And I believe the US also has military bases in Qatar as well. But I know that the UK has military bases in Qatar, which is why you see that they can load up what I'm looking for, fighter jets in Qatar, and easily bomb any region in the Middle East they want to, right? This is how Esau operates, and that's how you know that America, Babylon the Great, is an empire, right? Because it has colonies all over the earth, because that's basically what it means when you have a US military base on your soil, that you are a colony, a vassal state of Babylon. And even Nigeria as well is also a vassal state of Babylon, because when hey, these the Babylonians, you understand? And anyway, let's keep going into it. So yeah, and that's basically what Esau does. That's why he as the scriptures say, he keepeth not at home, because he's a vagabond, right? The curses that were put upon him from all the going back to the original forefather, which was Esau. As Esau, Edom is a vagabond on the earth. Okay, that's why he's going up and down, to and fro on the earth, enlarging his desire as hell, and is as death and cannot be satisfied. Right, and that's exactly why you see these devils trying to push the idea of bringing all the nations together and bringing all the people together, basically your globalization, in order to further his control over the people on the earth. Right, because what these devils are looking for right now is to set up their enterprise and make the new world order, the great reset, a success, which is why you have globalization happening in the first place. Okay, it's not for the sake of whatever lies and deception that Esau Edom is telling you, that it is a good thing and it has merit, because we are going to do this and that. We're going to make the world a safer and closer and blah blah blah. Another deception. But what it is for is to be able to control all the people that are on the earth, because that is the ultimate goal of Esau Edom. That's why the scriptures say that he sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High, right? So he's trying to present as the Heavenly Father, right? The God of the earth. That everything that you have in this world, is because of the so-called white man. The fact that you blacks are even civilized is because of the so-called white man. You people, you blacks, should be more thankful, right? Because if it wasn't for the so-called white man, you would still be living in mud huts and dying of what kind of diseases in Africa and so on and so forth. And that's how these devils operate, right? Deception constantly. Because first and foremost, we're not black, okay, we're different shades of brown. Secondly, we're not Africans, we are the Israelites, which the Bible speaks of, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. But you see, that's just the thing, right? Esau Edom only deals in deception, and these devils, they cannot speak the truth, right? The same way they cannot do a good deed. And that's why even Esau's media is so disgustingly filled with propaganda. And if you look and inspect at this media, you see, that it's all just, pro Edomites propaganda that pushes the idea that these devils are the true rulers, the true kings, the true controllers of the earth. So with that, I'll end the video right there. Once again, all praises, honor, and glory unto the Most High, Yahweh Bashami Hawashai, Bashamra Kakwadash, Wa Abad Babal, and through the Spirit, I hope you are calm and you are quite edified. Shalom.